that is connected to the agriculture sector. And we become one of the significant producers of. That is one biggest achievement which we have, and that all we can put together to an innovation ecosystem. So why we have an why we need to have a incubator, like why these incubators across India is set up for agri or agri businesses. It is basically to support and mentor innovative businesses which is coming in agri-tech sector. So how we can convert think, okay, this is an innovative idea, or like I have a you might be a farmer working in the field, but like you will have coming up with a better business model for yield to convert that technology into a business and sell it. So that's where the agri-tech incubator is coming in place. Or like you have 300 hectares of agricultural land, and like you wanted to automate it, so you can search for innovation centers which is working on it. You can work with them, you can identify solutions which you can take it from them and make sure your production is much better. So how these centers are supporting basically, so it help you to build the capacity. uh, Mostly agri incubators or agri entrepreneurs, aspiring agri entrepreneurs are from agriculture or like farming background, who don't have like exactly right set of business mindset or like business ideologies to build a business. So or they don't have strength in accounts, finance. So it's all come with this capacity building from an incubator. They will give you more training parts. They will connect you with right mentors, right set of experts who can help you to build this your venture. And also, if you think, okay, I want to build a technology and this is the idea, I have a proof of concept of it. So you want to build it into a product, like suppose it's a like created a machine, and like you uh, tried it and you did a prototype and you wanted to and you found that, okay, this is working, and you want to make it like a bigger scale production. So that's where an incubator can play a role. So you can take this technology to the incubator. Incubator will access help you to get the certification, and help you to build more, connect with the right manufacturers who can help you to build it. So this all comes with the support of an incubator. And like, okay, you don't want to build this technology, you have an idea which is patented, you got it patented to a Camco who is already manufacturing a plowing machine. So that's where a technology transfer office at an innovation park or an incubator comes in place, where that help you to transfer this technology to a bigger player or a corporate who is doing it. From there, you will get like a royalty fee or a monetization point of view from there. Also, all these incubators have like national, international network platforms, like where they connect each other, they work together, they collaborate in corporate innovation programs. So when you get into an incubator, you can get access to all this international collaboration. So if you start selling in India, you want to sell it to Germany, or you want to sell it to China, like there might be an option this incubator can bring in. Also, all the incubators are like right now with access to seed funds, which can be grants, equities, or loans. This all you can access through getting into an incubator, like starting from a Nidhi EIR of 30,000 per month to maybe a big Birak biotechnology ignition grant of 50 lakhs, or seed fund India scheme of 50 lakhs. Use trainings that you will get. Also, India has certifications like ISI, ISO, CE, all these certifications they can help you, and also they will help you for the technology conversion. So, I wanted to divide the agri incubators in India into 3 different incubators. So different types of incubators. There are incubators which is available in the agri value chain and sector development. So agri value chain means like anywhere it connects to the agri business value chain. That can be one. Is there any incubator like there are incubators which is working in like new developing new core crops, developing new technologies and all. So that are the second level of incubators. Third level of incubators which is working on basically looking into the technology transfer. Like you build a technology, they will help you to transfer into a corporate and get you money. So you can divide the agribusiness incubators into 3 segments, and you see like which incubator your idea fits into. So I believe like most of them here in the call is working on at least one idea, or they wanted to see like how their business gonna work in this place, right? And I was astonished, like India have like more than 1800 incubators, 1800 incubators right now. And out of that, more than 300 of them working directly with agri sectors. And if you want to see some predominant names, like you can see uh, ICR incubation centers, uh, business incubators, Krishi Pusa incubation centers, where all you get like access to better vendor network, better investor connections, better grants, which is rightly focused on incubator, like agri segment. So it is always better like you go to any of these incubators which is nearby. And I can see like entire of India region, like whether you see Imphal or like I saw which is in the northeast, or if you see like Jammu, every other region have a incubator which is working in the uh, uh, agri segment. So it is easy to find. So you can go to Startup India website or Manage website where you can find the nearest incubators near to you, where you can go with your uh, idea to pitch to them. They will help you to guide what to do with the next. And then, any questions till now? Happy to answer your questions. I think I have take on.
Yeah. Sir, we will take the questions at the end after second speaker finishes presentation. We will take a combined Q&A, sir.
Okay, I think like I'm comprehensive, like short enough to say like what an incubator looks in, or what how an incubator works, and what you can get from an incubator. And I would like to bring like few success stories happen. So if you see incubator of there is a agri incubator in IIT Kharagpur who works with like basically the agri businesses. So IIT Kharagpur have a agri business incubator. So that's the biggest part. So you if you get into that incubator, you can get access to the IIT Gorakhpur's basic technology facilities, their process, and also look for the best incubators working in this field. Manage is a great incubator which you can work with, uh, and figuring out the right incubator which is focusing on like where you place and like whether you are your product is relating agri business like value chain, or it comes with the technology commercialization, or it's a like technology transfer, what you exactly looking in, figure out the right incubator and go there. Thank you, and looking forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Vivin. Indeed, it's a really very interesting and a wonderful presentation. You are explaining about the agri startup ecosystem, how the agri incubators are contributing and developing agri new innovators and these entrepreneurs. So, as requested, my colleague Mr. Praveen, all participants, those who have the question, they can put their questions in the chat box. And now we'll move to our second speaker, Mr. CM Patil sir. He is the CEO of Krishi Kalpana Foundation and served as ex-CEO of the Deshpande Startup Foundation. He is a TEDx speaker who is passionate about the promote the entrepreneurs. He has a decades and half of entrepreneur experience and have led the different positions like director, chief operating officer, and the national tech head in his professional career. his contribution in the development of startup ecosystem is really remarkable, especially in the rural areas. So I welcome sir and request you to start with your session.
Thank you. So I think I see audience are mix of two sector here. One is startups themselves or aspiring entrepreneurs, and I also see some of them are wanting to be an incubator. So the topic what has been given to us for to speak is how does agritech startups look for an incubator, and at the same time what incubators has to do for a startups. So let's fundamentally understand why are we both needed. I think many of you might be understanding the reason why incubators emerged in the country is purely because our our country was starting up as a startup nation very young, and their mortality rates are very high. So incubators' primary job is to see that how can they facilitate some sort of customized support for entrepreneurs who are wanting to do themselves, are wanting to build an enterprise for themselves, right? So it's like the term incubator also come from a medical device. I'm sure most of you might be knowing whenever there is an early born child, for it to get accustomed to external conditions, it will be he or he will be placed in incubator so that it gets comfortable. So that's exactly the role of an incubator. So as an entrepreneur, if you're a tech or if you're a sales, if you're a business entrepreneur, you might be having a lot of areas which would be where you need a support. As my fellow panelist Ibn spoke about the options over there. So those are the things what you can manage for. And again, my only thing for a startups is ask for two questions for yourself. At first place, why are you looking for an incubator? If I were an entrepreneur, I need either market connects, either I look for getting the field level connects, or mentor connects, or raising funds and all. So these are the things, because in today's industry, it's all about how best you are known in the industry. So when I had gone to build an incubator in Deshpande startups, I fundamentally am an entrepreneur first. So I asked one question as myself: if I am going to start a company, what is that an incubator is going to provide to me? So is why I devised a principle called 3 M's. So one is, any incubator is supposed to give a mentoring services. Again, when we say mentoring services, most of the incubators today or most of the mentors today in the world are all trying to preach entrepreneurship. I think, in my opinion, that's wrong. A mentor job is to more ask a right question for an entrepreneur, because it is the end of the day, it's a call of an entrepreneur whether to take or not. I don't believe in teaching entrepreneurship. I believe more sharing experience for an entrepreneurship. If I'm asking a question, if I'm getting answers, then I'm not an entrepreneur, actually speaking. Because as I fundamentally believe, entrepreneurs are the one who sees problem as an opportunity, and they need some guidance. All they need is, can a mentor ask them a right set of questions? Can they guide them with about 20,000 feet what's happening on the ground? That's one thing. Second, the entrepreneur should ask an incubator is, do they have a R&D facility? Because as I'm starting a new venture, I don't want to spend more on the capex part of it. So do I have enough facility for that matter? So that would be one other sector what you have to choose for. And you have to finally come on two different mentors. One is a sales mentor and one is a technological mentor. Technological mentors are somebody who's more wanting to see what all the technical support has been. And these are very good given by technical incubators, or, like, for example, universities and things like that. Now, if you say that what is an incubator should look from an entrepreneurs. Whenever there are entrepreneurs, we are expecting some entrepreneurs to come and build some solutions for it, right? Do they understand the problem very well or not? So this is from an incubator perspective. So incubator should ask whether the entrepreneur whom we are onboarding or we are supporting, does he understand the depth of the problem? If not, open up a challenge for him, saying that, hey, because I'll just take one example. I'd seen a lot of farm mechanization startups coming into incubators, and they were actually coming with a rubber wheels. I said, boss, have you ever tested this in a actual fields? Because your rubber wheels cannot go in a wet soil ground conditions or that. So you need to see what is it. So these are the conditions what an incubator should be well versed in knowing how it has been built. The second aim would be, I would say, market connects. Check out whether, from a startup perspective, whether the incubator, whomever you are choosing, has got enough market insights or market connects or not. So that is fundamentally is much more important for us to see whether this incubator can provide me a service of that or not. Third point, from again from an incubator perspective, look at whether your entrepreneur whom you're onboarding is he looking for this or not, or is he expecting something else. So my suggestion would be that an incubator and a startup have to have an open conversation with each other, so that they will also set to know what has to be done, what not to be done. And once the listings are very clear, not just only listing, by the way, when we are doing onboarding a cohort, if some of these points are very, very clear for all of us, then we need to see what we can do. Because I've seen multiple startups coming only for raising funds, and for them, if you go and help for mentoring, it doesn't work. So either you need to tell them why mentoring is important to go to the next level of raise fund, or you should tell them, because I am asking something and they're providing something. Again, there will be a mismatch, and that's when the relationship between the mentor and the mentorship will the incubator will get collapsed over there. So one has to be very, very open enough to understand how is an entrepreneur cycle going out and how it has to be taken into account. So each of us have to be adding value. Only then we are going to sustain over there. So the third point would be the money part. Yes, incubators can never shy away saying that we will only connect. They should also have a lot of funding option internally. I think I read some question. Somebody was asking, can I fund an innovation, or can I take a loan from an incubation? I think because R&D innovations are a product of R&D. When you're doing a research and development, right, you're not sure about the results. So I wouldn't encourage any entrepreneurs to take loan for R&D. It is very, very risky, because what if your results are not positive? Then you will end up bearing the cost. So R&D, I would say, either you have to have a separate dedicated R&D fund. There are a lot of fund these days. Country has published, like Ebin was mentioning, Nidhi EIR is there, Nidhi Seed Support is there. There are multiple schemes from central government to state government. It is necessary for an incubator to see whether what all checkbox they have actually had it on their thing to say what can be done. For example, you might have heard about C Camp, you might have heard about PUSA. I mean, there are many incubators who are actually having all of these things. Startups, please understand whether your incubators have that connects. Do not expect incubators to connect to VCs right away, because the simple reason is if a venture is already venture fundable, 9 on 10 cases they won't go for a startup. They won't go to the incubator because they already have a VC current. They will definitely go there. If you are not ready, use this as a stepping stone to see, can I learn from that aspects? It's very, very necessary for an entrepreneur to know what do they know and what do they don't know. I don't know how many of you are aware of this Johari window, where you will know what is important and what is urgent, and how do you actually get out the metrics out of it. So it is important for a startup to also know. Typically, I'll tell you what I used to do when I was running incubator was, whenever we were onboarding any startup, we were very clear. We used to have a separate dedicated presentation for our startups to say what is that we as an incubator are willing to offer for a startup. If some startups feel that our services were not required, we were very, very happy to shake hands and then part ways from them, than we forcefully incubating them and then having a troublesome relation tomorrow. So I actually had visited Boston. I mean, I'd seen a lot of overseas options. How are they doing it out? In our fees, we are thinking this as the training sessions. Please do not think as a training sessions. Incubators are more enablers for you. They're more a catalyst. They are not the major element for reactions. So you have to ensure that catalyst role is only to expedite the reaction time. Expedite the reaction time to make it faster. That's exactly what your incubator or this thing would be there. And I think somebody is asking whether incubation must be a Section 8 or Section 8 society. Yes, it should be, because when you are a Section 8 company, only when you can get lot. Or if you're a for-profit incubator, for you to raise CSR money would be very, very difficult. Is why Government of India and state governments prefer you to be a Section 8 company, so that you are a not-for-profit initiative and you can leverage the CSR donation for us to go to the next stage. So what we would do, probably, rather than we making it a monologue, I think we have got a very good, quite a lot of audience there. Ebin has already covered a lot of it, what an incubator should do, so I don't want to repeat some of this. I'm going to more answer you guys questions from an entrepreneur's perspective, or how do you select? I always think like when you're incubator also should think like an entrepreneur. The reason, because for them, the audience is entrepreneurs, or the customers are audience, right? So when you have these particular people coming on board, see whether are you willing to, do you have enough metric to support them? Don't start incubation for all the problem, particularly for the agri, right? There is lot of clutches because your farmers won't pay you that easily. So whether there is a enough market opportunity for us. When we were doing it foundation, Deshpande Foundation, we were very clear that we had a farmer base and we used to provide a lot of pilot customer for our startups. And many of the startups whom we were onboarding, we never assured them the money. We only assured them that can you, if you have a final product, we will give you a landscape to try out your products, to test your POCs. That's important phase because you cannot go and test your customers, your products on the customers who are paying for you. So you need that, what we call as a sandbox. You need that area where you can test your products. So evaluate from that perspective. Again, incubators also think what is it you offer. If you're not clear what is it you're offering, don't go and support some of the non-domain expertise startups over there. It is easier for us to give a technical expertise, but very, very difficult for us to give an insights of that particular thing there. So how does incubation become self-dependent or self-funded? So here is where I had done a very unique program wherein any startup whom we used to support, they used to give a part funding for us. So we used to take equity in the startups. The reason why we are taking equity was very simple because that would be a double-edged sword. I can't take an equity for non-committal goals. So we one end, an incubator should be master in raising funds. They should know how to raise funds, how to go and present themselves in a lot of various forums, and then see how they can take it up. Like it could be DST, as I said, or Atal, or multiple of these things. So that is when they'll start, and they should also try and see if at all for some of their services is somebody is willing to pay for them. If an incubators always feel that I'm a not-for-profit guy, I don't need to do I don't need to generate money, then you're wrong. Incubators will be supported only for 2 to 3 years from either it could be state or central governments. It has to find its way to see how can they become self-sustainable. If you guys are not very well networked guys, then it'll have a problem. So whosoever is a colleges who's wanting to start something, right, that is when you'll actually get to know a lot more opportunities over there. So what I would do, probably Amit and the entire team here, I'm here for the next 40 minutes, so we can take questions so that startups or including can actually ask the question, then see how we can take it up. I hope I was concise enough to make you guys understand what is the role of an incubator and what is the role of a startup in dual ways.
Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you. Thanks for that insightful session. So now we'll move to the next section of today's webinar, that is Q&A. So we already have few questions posted by our fellow participants, and some of them have been already answered by CM Patil sir. And I personally, I have also listed on few questions for both the speakers. So there are many universities and institutions who are willing to establish incubation centers, especially technology incubation centers, or specific to some sector, maybe agri or healthcare, anything. So, end of the day, what matters is how this incubation center can sustain beyond the grant support from the government of India or any state government. So, in this regard, I would like to ask both the speakers, can you share some of the strategies that can help the incubator to sustain beyond the project funding, maybe grant or anything? Yeah.
Even shall I go first or you want to go first?
You can I can give quickly like 2-3 points and then you can have. So the one major thing happened in the last 2-3 years is the CSR Act, change in the CSR Act. So earlier the CSR Act was like only or the Companies Act 135 was speaking only incubators in the 135 section of Companies Act Schedule 7 speaks about how to spend the CSR money. And there is one point which states like incubators, which is inside academic incubators, can use CSR money to set up and help or promote entrepreneurship. This was the line earlier. Now they changed that any incubators can help use CSR money to support incubators. So that is one major funding source. And like if you look into the CSR spend in India, and it is less than 1% of the money right now using in the setting up incubators or building incubators. So recent example in my life is MRF Foundation, which is a CSR organization of MRF Limited. spending their 26 crore to set up an incubation center inside Madras Christian College, which is for again for a incubator inside a academic institution. So no government grants will be like not beyond 10 crore. So when you figure out a corporate who can fund a cause of promoting entrepreneurship, and you can set up an incubator along with them, that is the biggest part. And it's not like you have to set up an incubator. You can even run a program and use that money to create an impact around it. So as mostly here people are looking into build agri incubators. Agriculture directly connect to the impact part of it or social impact part of it. So it is always to build a incubator, or like you can easily get funds from corporate social responsibility funds of any of those corporates who have a focus area on agriculture or who have a focus area on creating livelihood, promoting entrepreneurship. So you look into the corporates who is like promoting entrepreneurship or this stuff, and that is one part like you can start looking raising money. So then another bigger thing is to run like programs around uh, the incubator, maybe like some paid programs. You can start running few paid programs which can uh, get like generate money. It can be from a sponsor agency, or it can be like you can run a program for a ministry or a department or a particular university where you can generate few money. And obviously like there will be an innovation management fee connected to most of the innovation. So like if you're helping someone to do the technology transfer, you can charge a fees around it. You can help them the innovator to do the transfer, but at the same time you can take a small money to do the incubation innovation management fee. And as rightly sir told, like equity is a double-edged sword. So but at the same time there is a huge possibility, like if the incubate, like you are really believing in the startup and you are really believing in the founder that you are coming in, it is always to plan a like even a small equity which is ranging of like 1 to 5%, which is like feasible. Like you need to also fit it in the tax rules, but at the same time you can you do the equity part of it. Also you can do consultation or innovation joint research with organizations where you can plan that for the fee. And at the same time you as an incubator you will be able to raise a lot of money for your startups. So you can plan a success fee around that, or a fund management fee, like a lot of grants coming to your incubator. So you maybe plan a fund management or a success fee around it. So that might be another way of making a sustainable model for an incubator. But obviously the two major revenue sources right now in India is like look into the CSR and look into onto the program management or programs which you can sponsor. Like NSRCL is doing programs for Goldman Sachs, the 1,000 woman program. So you might be take reference of it, or Will Grow doing programs for Saint Gobin. So there are like few examples of programs which is happening. So every corporate will have a problem statements. You figure out a corporate manager, you run a corporate management program for them. If you look into T-Hub's model, they have a lot of program management model. So that might be another easier way to make money, or easy way to make the incubator sustainable. Over to you, CM Patil sir, please.
Yeah. So I think I would more insist on the way my fundamental belief is don't start incubator if you don't know how to sustain it. Treat it as a venture. How we are trying to mentor a startup, try and consider even incubators as a ventures. Of course, I agree it would be a not-for-profit venture, but sustainability is something has to be deep inside seed thought for everyone. So in my opinion, when I decided to support or build the Deshpande startup was fundamentally I'm an entrepreneur by core. So I have never built any of the business which is not sustainable. So we have to work out with multiple channels. See, one advantage is that we get lots of grants for an incubator in the first 2-3 years. And after that, whatever they have done, if at all something which is not manageable, like for example, I was talking about Dishpan startup, right? We had an opportunity because we were very confident of the services what we provide to startup. So we were charging upfront equity back then. Additional to it, we also had another model where there was a fixed fees for startups to come and leverage the services. See, there is no freebies which has to, I mean, when we're talking about entrepreneurship, it has to be mutually benefited. Like some of the things what mentioned by Ebin, there are a lot of corporates who have a problems and are willing to fund the startups back, incubators back. To say that, for example, I was running a corporate innovation program with Ola back then, where Ola had actually told us to identify the startups in a mobility space. Then they will fund it out. So similarly, we can run multiple opportunity bank programs from a large startups. And additional to it, what Ebin mentioned, we have a opportunity to raise CSR money because now incubators are authorized to raise money. But for that, you need to have a very good connect in the market to see how it has to be raised. And simple things, right? If incubators can't be sustainable on their own, what are they preaching for the startups? Fundamental question to me, right? If we don't know how to survive, how do we make sure that somebody else gets survived? So there are ways where your office's co-working space can be rented out because initially grants programs are built to see how we can support it out. But you need to say some of your market validation. You can have a poster card for that. For all the services what you provide, this could be the nominal charge what you're going to charge for that. It should not be exorbitant because you are end of the day. Remember the primary objective of any incubator is only to support a startup. So they can't treat them as a customers fully, right? So they need to see that how effectively they can work it out. I think there are multiple corporate innovation programs which are there where they can raise the funds. There are also a lot of HNIs who are wanting to do better for their own regions. So let's say how do we actually go behind those HNIs and then say how can we make it out? And when an incubator comes with a clear cut purpose, there are hell a lot of donors who are wanting to donate their hard-earned money to get that sustainable part of it. So that these are some of my pointers, I would say, additional to what Ebin mentioned over there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I have one more question. See the way how we as an incubator we have certain parameters where we do evaluation of ourselves in order to support startups. In the same way, startups will be having their own parameters how to select an incubator. So in this regard, there is a question posted by one of the participants: how to attract potential entrepreneurs to the incubation center. So how do we select the entrepreneurs? Because these entrepreneurs are the brand image of the incubator. End of the day, if the success of the startup is known, then the success of the incubator is assured. So just curious to understand how we
Absolutely.
can set the potential
Yeah, I
entrepreneurs.
think I can take this one first because when we started as a new one, that is where the credibility comes in. You won't believe at one point in time we were actually wanting to see how can we attract startups. Like a lot of incubators are going and chasing the good startups. If an incubator is clear about their offerings, like for example, you do offering a market as a service, you offer innovation products or a lab as a service for them, or you give them a venture capital. So you need to be very clear that the 2 to 3 services of yours would be stark different. Then you will be, believe me, Amit, there would be a lot of entrepreneurs wanting to come for you. So when I had this particular program, we had about 90 plus or 90 to 100 applications we used to get for whenever we used to call cohort. We were only selecting 12 to 14. So if you are very clear about your offerings, and if you have delivered that on a track record, you need 1 to 2 cycle to go through that. At one point in time, I think I can probably talk about when we're doing it, even critical when we are doing now some of the supporting startups, right? We don't run incubator here, but we are very clear that we are very wanting to give a market connect for them. So I'm connected to multiple incubators where some of these startups, some of their best startups comes to me in search of market. And now these incubators have taken our services, say that because if we go to Krishikalpa, we know that they will help us facilitate the market. They will help me get a customer review. They'll also help us get the ground realities. So now that we also are very selective in choosing few incubators like that. It could be Social Alpha, Manage, or CCamp. So some of these incubators whom we work very closely with are the ones who are chasing us to say, hey, here is a bright startup, how can we support? So once the 2-3 cycles runs out, then your history speaks for yourself. I can talk about past. Highest number of Elevate winners were coming in Karnataka from Deshpande startups. So anybody who's wanting to apply for Elevate used to come for us. So that is like how a startup's product would be cherished in the market. Similarly, incubators offering would attract a lot of mission-driven entrepreneurs. And as I think the numbers mentioned by have been like 1400 plus or 1800 plus incubators are there. Everyone is competing for them. I was very clear that I would not incubate, or I wouldn't want to incubate a startup which is already taken 2-3 other incubator, because they're only doing a hopping job. It's no use for them nor for us. So it is very important for you guys I mean, it might sound little crazy at this point in time, but if you are very clear that, hey, these are my services, using these services, a startup can go from point A to point B. Automatically, he will do a referral. So 65 to 70% of my startups were only coming from a referral program. We never advertise ourselves that much. So how you render your services will actually play out a role for you. That's something which I would say. And the other option could be how many funding options you have. Like it could be BIRAC, you have got innovation funds, you got EIR. So some of these programs will also attract a lot of startups because they need every other person is looking for some funds. So if you want to be called as a very good star code incubator, you need to have 3-4 very clear differentiation for yourself. Only then you will be able to attract a lot of good startups, is what I feel.
I would like to add like few
Thank you.
things so to what CM Patil sir said. One thing like every incubator is itself a business. So you need to create a clear pipeline for a longer run. Like you might be starting an incubator right now, but like whether you can create a pipeline for over a period of 5 years. So we started an incubator called AIC Race in 2019. I got like 3 months to like from the funds to start the operation. So within 3 months, sourcing 20 right fit startups was the biggest challenge. So uh, I I just wanted to give like how we were able to bring that 20 startups, which after within an year they were all raised a seed funds of minimum 2 to 3 crores within 1 year of operations. So all the startups came in the very early stage where they have a POC. So we created a selection criteria, very stringent selection criteria to the applicants who are coming in. So how we created a pipeline? So we did like we went out into social media, we wrote blogs, we did like a lot of partner programs within that 3 months. So we did intensive marketing to generate a huge lot of leads because like we are a very new incubator. We never know like where the startups will be coming from. So we did a kind of a generic awareness campaigns around, which created a almost a leads of 5,000 to 6,000 leads who wanted to build a business or like want to start with. From there, we like the third month we started doing a interest-based programs. Like we did like few trainings, workshops to understand how many of the leads are qualifying to be a real lead, and then we launched a 1 month pre-incubation program to understand. So the major thing when you select an incubator is like whether you have a clear fit between the incubator and the startup, and the startup, the expectation has to be clearly set. So what the incubator is expecting from the startups in the next 1 year or 2 year or during the incubation period. What is the startup want to get from the incubator? So that expectation match also has to be set. So for that, we did a 1 month pre-incubation program along with 2 or 3 free mentoring sessions. So this like reduce the pipeline, like we would send an application form for the pre-incubation program, and we got almost 600 plus applications. Out of the 600 applications, we set up a stringent selection procedure depending on the incoming startup persona which is coming in. So we looked into the innovativeness, we look into the feasibility of the business, we look into the impact which is creating, and what is the where the journey of the startup is, and the team, like whether they are at company or whether they are ready to set up a company within the next 1 year or during the program. So that reduced the pipeline into 50. So from that 50, we did interviews with all the 50, did a pitch program, like pitch even kind of a pitch session to understand whether they are able to convey what they're trying to do. So from there, we selected 22 startups, and out of this 22 startups raised money in next 9 months, which is up to the biggest funding happened in the first round is 2.5 crore, which is for Circlex. So this really helped to create a fast pipeline. And as sir told, like we also had startups which become like, out of this 22, 3 of them were in the top top 10 startups, which is selected by Tamil Nadu Startup Mission to fund 20 lakhs. They all got grants from Government of India or Nidhi Aayog, lot of different grants. So when we had a stringent criteria to select the right startups, and at the same time a huge pipeline to drive like 5,000, 6,000 applications or interest people to a single funnel, first cohort. And from the first cohort, the second cohort, the pipeline went to like almost 12,000. And application, when we called for applications for the second pre-incubation program, the application was around 800 plus. And it's all came through the pipeline which we created. And till now, the pipeline is increasing. At the same time, we are getting much better startups from the earlier days. So always better to create a huge pipeline. You can use the entire like you can create a funnel where you generate awareness, like you be there, create a brand which is like prominent, going out and speak to people in the social media or in the partner programs and all. Send regular newsletters to interested people. Do sector specific trainings, like if you want to focus, like for example, like at AIC race we are focusing on SDGs, sustainable development goals. So we did SDG indexing programs for founders, we did like innovation programs, hackathons only for SDG. And the pre-incubation program was the decision making time, like whether this the startup is fit for the incubator, or and whether that made us to really help into pick up the right startups in the and that lead to the incubation program. So that's how we did. Hope that really gonna help you in a way, like creating a bigger pipeline.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Thanks for letting us know how different incubators are using the strategies to select the startups through various programs that they run in their incubators. So now we have few participants who have raised their hands. So we have a participant, Captain B. Bhavnik, who has raised his hand to ask questions directly to the speakers. Yes, Captain sir, can you hear us? Yes, Captain B. Bhavnik, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, please ask your question directly to the speakers.
Yes, a very good morning to everyone. My question is actually, I'm really very much keen about the entrepreneurship starting. Specifically, I'm from northeastern part of India, from Tripura. So we have seen a lot of scope of horizon on that part regarding stevia and regarding horticultures like uh, floriculture's activities. It started, but it's bigger way can be done. But I have noticed most of people are underprivileged people. They are encouraged, young generation also encouraged. But problem basically happening with them is like rising, connectivity for the customers, having the proper market. And actually, most of people are very much enthusiastic, but they are always waiting for I will need to get approval from NABARD. Suppose 500 guys are trying to get approval NABARD and finally Government of India Finance, whatever, maybe from horticulture missions. But fact of the matter is, suppose 10 guys or 20 guys are getting approval. So in majorities, immoral factors is what it is. So how this young generation can get out of it and how we can help them. So if you can highlight some point on that part.
So, Captain, I think I can take a bet on this to go for that. See, many of them are. Let's understand what is an entrepreneurial journey, right? Many of them are wanting to do good. Entrepreneurship is actually a tough journey. It's not an easy journey. It's a sinusoidal wave. If an entrepreneur, because many of us are glorifying entrepreneurship to an extent that everybody want to be an entrepreneur. I'm not saying that it should not be done. It should be done that way. But however, the person who is wanting to take his or her startup, right, has to be much more committed than the enablers here. So people who are not afraid of failures, people I would more call them as the people who have a mindset to think every problem is an opportunity are a true entrepreneurs. So whenever you are extending any support for some of these things, there would be hundreds of or thousands of hurdles over there. So it is necessary for them to say what would be their attitude when they're facing hurdle and how are they overcoming that. At the max, an incubator or a learned people like you can do is we can facilitate the connect. Is why I use a term called incubator should behave like a catalyst. They are not the major element for a reaction. They are only there to speed up the process. So it could be NABARD or whenever they're actually looking at horticulture or where not, let them first learn about entrepreneurship. Many of us are only glorifying entrepreneurship. We are not even telling what are the downsides of entrepreneurship, right? So it has to be engrossed in all of these people to mindset that okay, what is it they can do? And at the same time, if an entrepreneur is not focused, everybody want to change the world tomorrow. That's not going to be possible. That's not going to be practical, right? So they need to see what is that area what they want to focus on. How is that they're going to solve? At the same time, they also need to understand how can they generate revenue by solving a problem. If there is no revenue by solving the problem, then don't do it. As simple as that. Because nobody will come and cry, and this is not a space where we will be trying only from a approach where we will find a solution which will give a result in next 10 years. That's an R&D process. Entrepreneurship journey is entirely where they know the problem, they know this is the things what they can fix it up, and by this that get them livelihood. Only then they have to try for this. Otherwise, it's going to be a very risky journey for somebody who's choosing it out. So motivation beyond the point is really hurtful for entrepreneurship, in my opinion.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. So now we have arrived at the end of today's program. I thank both the speakers, CM Patil sir and Ebin, for taking up the time to deliver the insightful session. In fact, in the short notice, they were able to join us, and the presentations were really good. And the questions asked by the participants were also really relevant. I believe the outcome of today's webinar is going to be really helpful for the people who want to set up incubators, who want to be part of this startup ecosystem, and also for the startups who are looking for incubation center support. They know now how to evaluate before joining or selecting the incubator. So on behalf of Manage CIA, I thank both the speakers and also our today's participants who have taken time to join and listen to both the speakers and also ask relevant questions. So I request the participants to check the chat box. We have shared the feedback form there. You can click on it and submit the feedback on today's webinar. And kindly visit the official website of Manage CIA. We have invited applications for Manage Agri Eureka 2023. So this is the second edition of Manage Agri Eureka, where we are looking for innovative agri startup ideas to support through incubation support from Manage. And also the selected participants under this program will undergo mentoring program through industry experts from the agriculture and allied sectors. And the winners will be getting option to get into RKVY FSTAR scheme from Ministry of Agriculture, Science and Farmers Welfare, where they will be getting grant-in-aid support up to 25 lakh rupees. And we also have invited applications for cohort 9 under RKV Vairafta. So far, Manage has completed 8 cohorts, and already we have supported the funding of 10 crores, 28 lakhs to 106 startups under this scheme. So applications are open for cohort 9. So I request any startups who are looking for financial support and also mentoring support, they can apply. So the details are available in our official website. And we will be sharing the contact details of today's speakers. So if there are any questions that are not answered today because of shortage of time, so you can directly send email to them, so they'll reply you. And there is a small survey link also. So participants who are attending the Saturday webinar series, so they can submit their response in this survey link. Again, on behalf of Manage CIA, myself, Praveen, Finance Manager at RKR of the project, thank you once again. Thank you.
I would like to add one more point. Anyone can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. Happy to answer questions. And also, I run you asked me, like a lot of people will have questions on how to set up an incubator, run an incubator. So I run a workshop series every month on like how people. Organizations who wanted to set up an incubator in terms of like how they can drive the CSR money. So I work in that space, work with corporates to drive the CSR money into incubators. So happily I was able to bring like 100 crore last year. So this year I'm looking for more incubators to get more CSR money from the corporates who is looking to create impact. Looking forward. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you,
you all.
Mr.
Hope our session was
Thank you.
useful for all of you. Thank you. Thanks, Manage team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.